Ever wonder what it really takes to get a company off the ground? Well, today, we're getting a super rare look inside the blueprint of an ed tech startup. We're going to deconstruct their entire plan using their own internal meeting notes from December 2nd, 2025. Let's kick things off with the very first line that kind of sets the stage for everything else. On the scale of success, this is the core motive, the heartbeat of the whole venture. And right away, you're thinking, what is this new scale? What are they trying to measure, and why is the old one not good enough? It's a fantastic hook. So we're going to follow their journey right from this massive, ambitious idea all the way down to the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day tasks. This document is our guide, showing us how a huge vision starts the long, messy process of becoming a reality. First up, let's talk about the big picture. And believe me, when I say big, I mean big. This isn't just about teaching kids a few new subjects. No, not by a long shot. Their mission is way, way bigger than that. And there you have it. I mean, wow. The ultimate goal is stated right there in black and white. This isn't just an education company. It's a project with a national ambition. They are drawing a straight line from their teaching model to the future of the entire country. Talk about a statement of intent. So, how are they going to pull off something that massive? Well, their core belief is right here. For them, the path forward isn't just about training kids to be good employees. It's about sparking a whole new generation of entrepreneurs, the people who will actually create the jobs of the future. That's the engine for the whole vision. Okay, so every great startup needs a great problem to solve. What's the issue that they're trying to fix? This is where it gets really interesting, because their diagnosis connects a very modern-day anxiety to something from the distant past. So check this out. On one side, you have a problem we can all recognize. Parents who are super anxious and worried about their kids' futures. But look at the cause they point to. It's not what you'd expect. They're tracing it all the way back to the Macaulay education policy, which they claim pushed the country away from its foundational roots. So you see where this is going, right? If the problem has these deep historical roots, it kind of makes sense that their solution does too. They're not just pitching a new curriculum, they're bringing back a very old philosophy of learning. And that philosophy is centered on this concept called Shruti. Now, what is that? It's an ancient tradition all about auditory learning, about really listening, absorbing, and letting knowledge sink in. Think of it less like cramming for a test and more like deep, intuitive understanding. And here's how they're translating that ancient idea into a modern method. This Shruti concept gets turned into a practical, step-by-step process. You start with a rock-solid foundation. Then you build on top of that, layer by layer, making sure every new piece of knowledge really connects and sticks. It's all about integration, not just memorization. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. We've heard the grand philosophy, the world-changing vision. But now, let's see how that stacks up against the actual day-to-day work of, building a company. So remember this huge nation-building mission? I want you to just lock that in your head for a second as we look at the very next slide, which is from the exact same meeting. And here it is, the reality. In the same breath that they're talking about rebuilding a nation, they're also talking about fixing alignment issues on a web page and uploading some case studies. I mean, this contrast is the absolute heart and soul of every startup, right? It's that constant whiplash between the 30,000-foot view and the tiny task that just needs to get done right now. All right, for our final section, let's bring this all back home. We started with that idea of creating a new scale of success. So how do you actually measure progress when you've basically thrown out the old rulebook? This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to have a new philosophy, but it's a whole other challenge to actually prove it's working. How do you keep score? Well, it looks like their answer is tied up in a feature they're building, a school admin leaderboard. So they've got the structure figured out. Their new scale is going to be this leaderboard, and they know they need two views, a big overall ranking, and then one you can filter state by state. So the what is clear. They know what they want the final product to do. But, and this is the absolute kicker, the how is still a work in progress. Look at that action item. The final logic, the actual secret sauce that will define this whole new scale of success, is still just a to-do item for someone named Saurabh. It's still in somebody's head. It hasn't been written down or turned into code yet. The very definition of their success is literally still being created. And that really leaves us with this final thought. We've seen this gigantic vision right next to the most mundane website fixes. We've seen an ambitious plan to redefine success, where the core logic is still just an idea on a notepad. And what does that tell us? It perfectly captures that chaotic, beautiful, and very human gap between a brilliant idea and the long road to making a real impact. The journey is never, ever a straight line.